Cesare Borgia, a name synonymous with ruthless ambition, political machinations, and the dark underbelly of Renaissance Italy, remains one of history's most compelling and controversial figures. Born in Subiaco, near Rome, in 1475, he was the illegitimate son of Cardinal Rodrigo Borgia, who would later become Pope Alexander VI, and Vanosa dei Caetani, a noblewoman of considerable beauty and influence. This illegitimacy, though a social hurdle in the rigid hierarchy of the era, proved unexpectedly advantageous for Cesare. His father, determined to elevate his own power and legacy, actively fostered his son's advancement, bypassing traditional constraints. Early life was marked by a promising clerical career, initially destined for the church, a common path for sons of prominent families seeking prestige and positions of influence. However, Cesare demonstrated little genuine interest in religious matters. His ambition lay elsewhere, fueled by a keen understanding of the turbulent political landscape of Italy. His father, recognizing his son's burgeoning desires for secular power, began to orchestrate his shift from the church into the realm of military and political affairs. In 1493, Cesare was appointed as a cardinal, a largely symbolic title which served to legitimize him and provide access to papal patronage and resources. The same year, he was sent to Spain as the papal ambassador, a crucial mission aimed at securing an alliance with Ferdinand and Isabella, the Catholic monarch's pop. This experience in Spain was formative. Cesare observed firsthand the centralized authority and efficient military organization of the Spanish monarchy, contrasting starkly with the fragmented and often chaotic state of Italy. Returning to Italy, Cesare was given command of the papal forces, marking the beginning of his ascent to military and political prominence. His father, Pope Alexander VI, was engaged in a relentless power struggle against the other major Italian states, particularly Florence and Naples, and Cesare was entrusted with executing his father's ambitious agenda. The Pope's primary goal was to establish the Papal States as a dominant force in Italy, expanding their territories and consolidating control over the Romagna region, a historically volatile area plagued by petty tyrants and mercenary bands. Cesare's military campaigns in the Romagna were characterized by a combination of shrewd strategy, ruthless tactics, and the innovative use of mercenary troops. He understood that conventional warfare alone would be insufficient to subdue the region. He needed to dismantle the existing power structures and instill fear among potential rivals. His methods were notoriously brutal. He employed betrayal, assassination, and public executions to eliminate his enemies and establish his authority. One of his most infamous acts was the massacre at Sinigaglia in 1499, where he ordered the execution of hundreds of citizens who had surrendered after a siege, demonstrating to the other Italian rulers the consequences of opposing him. This act, while effective in consolidating his power in the Romagna, generated widespread condemnation and solidified his reputation as a cruel and merciless tyrant. Despite his brutality, Cesare was also recognized for his administrative skills. He implemented reforms to improve governance, reduce corruption, and promote economic development in the territories under his control. He sought to create a centralized and efficient bureaucracy, modeled after the Spanish system he had observed during his ambassadorship. Cesare's relationship with his father was complex, marked by both affection and manipulation. The Pope relied on Cesare to carry out his political ambitions, while Cesare, in turn, used his father's influence to further his own personal power and enrichment. Their relationship was strained by differences in opinion and the Pope's growing paranoia. In 1501, Cesare married Charlotte of Savoy, a strategic alliance designed to strengthen the Papal States' position in Italy. However, the marriage was short-lived. Cesare, known for his libertine tendencies, soon abandoned Charlotte, further damaging his reputation and provoking resentment. The fluctuating political landscape of Italy presented constant challenges for Caesar. He formed alliances with various Italian rulers, including Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. But these alliances were often fragile and opportunistic. He sought to exploit rivalries between the major Italian powers, playing one against the other to advance his own interests. However, Caesare's ambition outstripped his resources and the Pope's waning influence. The death of Pope Alexander VI in 1503 proved to be a turning point in Caesare's fortunes. With his father gone, Cesare lost his primary source of power and protection. His political enemies, emboldened by the change in leadership, quickly seized the opportunity to undermine him. His election as Pope was briefly considered but ultimately unsuccessful. Cardinal della Rovere, who later became Pope Julius II, emerged as a formidable opponent. Under the new pontificate, Cesare was stripped of his positions and titles. He fled Italy, seeking refuge in France. In 1504, he was implicated in the murder of Cardinal Adrian of Capua, a crime that further tarnished his reputation. He spent several years in exile, attempting to regain his former status through intrigue and alliances. He participated in various military campaigns, including the Italian Wars, fighting for France against Venice. He attempted to reconcile with Pope Julius II, but these efforts proved unsuccessful. Cesare's ambition and ruthless methods made him a figure of fascination and fear throughout Italy. Niccolò Machiavelli, in his seminal work, The Prince, used Cesare as a cautionary example of a ruler who employed cunning and violence to achieve his goals, but ultimately failed to secure lasting power. Machiavelli acknowledged Cesare's skill and effectiveness, but warned against relying solely on force and deception. Cesare Borgia died in 1507 near Senigallia, likely of a fever, leaving behind a complex and controversial legacy. His life serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the moral compromises often made in the pursuit of power. Though his reign was short-lived, his impact on the political landscape of Renaissance Italy was profound, and his story continues to captivate and provoke debate.